Hey, it's Tommy. We're doing Death in Hamlet, and I'm also here with
Brittany, Katie,
Jake.
our thesis is Death is a new beginning. It initiates a change in society. If a person of royalty dies, another person must take their place in line, bringing new leadership, ideas, cultures, etc., etc., etc.
Our first quote from Hamlet is, "All that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity." This means that it's a never-ending process and it just goes on and on. That's how ideas and new leaderships are set in motion.
And also at the beginning of Hamlet, a king dies, and then at the end of Hamlet, a king dies, meaning that new leadership comes into play and the country is changed.
Alright, our second quote is, "A bloody deed, almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry with his brother." This is referring to when Claudius kills Hamlet Sr. and becomes a new king of Denmark and marries Gertrude, who was Hamlet Sr.'s wife, and who is also Hamlet Jr.'s mother, of course. If it weren't for the fact that this took place and Hamlet finding out about it, he wouldn't have been driven to go mad, and none of the events that took place later in the play would have happened. And then it would just probably most likely be like another fairy tale where everything's happily ever after. Nobody dies, you know.
And on that note, basically what he's saying is that Hamlet went mad after he found out that his uncle killed his father to marry his wife and become the king, which initiated one change, and that sent Hamlet on a revenge craze, which got him to want to kill his uncle, who was the new king, and in doing that, everybody who would have taken over died except for Fortinbras, and that's a huge change for the country because he's Norwegian, and he comes in and takes over Denmark. He comes over and takes over Denmark, and he's Norwegian. That's a huge change because everybody who would have taken over died, and a new leader came in.
In Act 5, Scene 2, Hamlet talks to Horatio, and he says, "I die, Horatio. The potent poison quite o'ercrows my spirit. I cannot live to hear the news from England, but I do prophesy the election lights on Fortinbras. He has my dying voice, so tell him with the occurrence, more or less, which have solicited. The rest is silence." Which means that Hamlet wanted Fortinbras to become king after everyone died.
Hamlet obviously found some good leadership qualities in Fortinbras, or else he wouldn't have wanted him to become king.
And there was nobody else qualified to become king, because everybody who had the qualities of becoming a good king just obviously died in the end.
Because everyone died in the end.
Or should I say being a good leader? Because obviously you have Gertrude and Ophelia, who obviously can't be kings.
They can be queens. No
Because
sexist.
they are
The point is, death is obviously a major theme in Hamlet. It's the reason everything happens. It starts with death and ends with death.
It starts off with Hamlet finding out that his father was murdered by Claudius to become king, and then it goes to the climax where Polonius is murdered by Hamlet because he's gone mad.
Where then everyone dies at the end, starting with Ophelia because she drowns, through the Gertrude because she drinks the poison drink, and Claudius, and then Laertes and Hamlet because they kill each other with swords.
And we found out at the end that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern were killed by the English king, as Hamlet had wrote in the letter he sent. This has been Death in Hamlet by Tommy, Jake, Brittany, and Katie.